if I tell you that this shot was taken with a tiny drone that weighs less than 250 grams? The new DJI drone is called Mini 3 Pro, and that's a bit misleading because you automatically assume that it is a successor to the Mini 2. But in my opinion, it is much more like a small version of the Mavic 3. And you'll understand why by the end of this video. The Mini 3 weighs exactly 1 gram less than the magic 250 grams, which means you don't have to have a license to get it in the air. It is pretty remarkable that the engineers were able to keep the weight precisely under that mark. The drone is in typical DJI fashion foldable and can easily fit in a jacket pocket. I don't even notice it in a backpack. An iPhone 13 Pro Max in a case actually weighs more. The battery is so light that I first thought it is just a plastic cover. Nonetheless, the flight time is just over 30 minutes, which is impressively long. Collisions are prevented by the sensors in 3 directions, front, back and downwards, so you don't have to really worry about crashing the drone when it is actively following you. In terms of flight feeling, the Mini is similar to the larger Mavic in my opinion. It's only much quieter, which is very pleasant because you don't attract so much attention. Even in stronger wind it was stable in the air and can travel up to 16 meters per second, which is only a bit below the 19 meters per second of the big Mavic. There is a version without a remote control, one with a controller included and another with an integrated display. The last one is a dream to use, takes a bit too long to boot up, but no longer do I have to worry about charging levels of my smartphone as well as the battery level of the drone and the controller. The connection is stable even many kilometers away and the display is nice and bright and big. For me the most important upgrade of a new drone is always the image quality, and the Mini 3 Pro now has a much larger sensor, 1 to 1.3 inch. The result is lower noise and brighter images. The aperture is faster as well, f1.7. I also found the dynamic range to be higher as well. In addition, 4K videos can be shot up to 60 frames per second for a slight slow motion, for example. In Full HD it is even possible to go to 120 FPS. The color reproduction and noise behavior impressed me. Only in very extreme lighting conditions, dark areas continue to be underexposed. In 24 FPS the image quality is slightly higher than in 60 FPS. There are again quite a few modes such as hyperlapse, automatic rotation around objects and a D-Cine-like color profile. So both complete beginners and professionals should be pleased. The 4 times higher sensor resolution of 48 megapixel is especially good for photos. In the DNG RAW format you can edit much more flexible than the predecessor in my experience. The colors are more vivid and the sharpness is way higher than in the 4K videos. Compared to the Mavic, I would say the Mini is about 15% worse. What I find really cool about the Mini 3 Pro is that you can rotate the gimbal vertically. For portrait social media videos, for example, these are going to be the most insane 4K 60 FPS TikToks, I can tell you that. Only downside I noticed, there's no ND filter that comes with the drone, but you can buy them separately. The 250 gram rule makes everything a bit more relaxed. The nice side effect is such a light drone doesn't bother while hiking and carrying it in a backpack. There's one last thing I have to tell you, and that is sadly the price, because it has increased quite a lot. 740 euros to be exact. That is way more than the predecessor, which can be bought, so you can still buy the cheaper predecessor if you don't need all the new and fancy features. And there's also no remote, so you have to buy one, and the one with the display is 260 euros, and the Fly More bundle with extra batteries and the case is 190 euros. So quite a lot of money for such a small drone. But again, I don't feel like it's an amateur mini drone. I feel like it's a big Mavic, only shrunken down, and that to me is really impressive.